From the beautiful campus of Casper College, it's time to dive into the world of Casper College athletics with another episode of the Casper College Coaches Show. Now here's your host, Phil Kohler.
Welcome fans to the Casper College Coaches Show. I'm your host, Phil Kohler, joined as always by the head coach of the Lady Thunderbirds, Dwight Gennari. Coach, we come off of a 2-week break. First and foremost, how was your Christmas?
Yeah, it was great. Got to spend some time in Montana with the family, some grandkids and my two daughters and their family. So great time, great break. We probably ate a little too much, but we had some good family time. Really was excited to get back here and get the second half of the season started. But that break is probably the best timing, in a season for both the players and the coaching staff.
Well, and knowing you, I'm sure that basketball is probably not far from your mind at any point over break. So, Coach, going back before break, you guys took a big trip. You guys went down to New Mexico for the first time, played in the New Mexico Junior College Classic. You guys played 3 games down there. Give us a little overview of what that was like for you guys and the opportunity that you had down there.
It was a monster trip because we had a little weather issue. We left, I think, pretty early in the morning, and then we practiced at Regis University. And then we found out where there was going to be a big snowstorm at Rotan Pass. So we had to get an alternate plan. Well, we didn't dodge the snow. So it was about a 14-hour bus ride just to get to Amarillo. And then we had another 3.5 hours after that to get to Hobbs. So, that had my concern right off the beginning. How are we going to play after we're spending all this time on the bus? I couldn't be happier with how the kids played and how they bounced off to that trip.
Good. Well, you guys started with South Plains, a very good basketball team. Probably showed a little bit of bus rust coming off. You guys fall 66-56. Luta leads the way with 15 points. How did you feel like they played with South Plains? After
that first quarter, or first probably 12 minutes, excellent. We had some uncharacteristic turnovers that led to baskets early on. We got down by as much as 15. We were down 15 at halftime, and then we made a run and got it within 3 and had them on the ropes. If we could have played the first quarter over, and it could have been, not having our legs quite yet off the bus trip or not, but it was turnovers that got us, and they converted those turnovers and got out in front of us. And then even though we came back into the game, we had to use a lot of energy to get back in the game. But I would say for 30 of those 40 minutes, we competed extremely well against a good team.
Sure. Well, you take that momentum into Saturday where you guys get a chance to play the host, number 11 in the country, New Mexico Junior College, and you go in there and you knock them off by 17 points, 98-81. 5 different players in double figures. You guys shoot 53% from the three-point line. Things look like they're trending in the right direction. What do you think about that game?
It was amazing, and I think the biggest point we try to make after that one is this is what you're capable of. You're probably not going to be at that standard shooting-wise every single night. It would be wonderful if we were, but that's not going to happen. But we have that game in us, and New Mexico Junior College is a very good basketball team. Their ranking is legit. They've got a couple losses in their record, but that was based on an administrative error on the eligibility form, so they had to forfeit those games. They were won on the court, but lost in because of the forfeit. That was an extremely quality win, and we played some of our better basketball. Our transition was, that was a part that I was concerned about playing them because they're extremely athletic. Plus, they press. They press all the time, and they get a lot of turnovers. We handled it perfectly. Awesome. So, excellent basketball game.
Well, and Coach, looking towards the end of the season already, you're looking for that automatic bid into the NJCAA tournament. But winning the Region 9 is not always guaranteed. It's a tough battle. Talk about how important a win like this is if you're looking for potentially an at-large bid.
That's a great point. We still have to win a lot of basketball games to even be considered during the regular season. I think you mentioned off camera that we've received votes in this poll. So that's the first step. You really have to win enough games and people lose in front of you probably to get into the top 20 range to be considered. But to your point, when you get in there, the things that they look at is what are your losses? Who are you losing to? And we lost to USU Eastern, who's like 16 right now. Western Nebraska is ranked. NJC is ranked. Yeah. And then who did you beat? Who are your quality wins? And that one will definitely be a factor. So that if we can win enough games and get into that top 20 and in the polls, I think that win right there would carry some weight.
Absolutely. So then moving into Sunday, you guys get a chance to play McCook, a Region 9 opponent. You guys handle them pretty easily, 74-39, 11 different players get in the score column. Do you feel like there is something to beating a Region 9 opponent that badly? Do you feel like there is, you're kind of sending a message to the rest of Region 9?
Every game has its own, identity, and it has its own story, and you could play that same team a day later and it could be a totally different outcome, just how the sport works. But to your comment, yes, I think it is. If you're going to see them in the Region 9 tournament, there is going to be some memory to that. We got to hope our memory isn't we won by 40 points. Right. It's how did we win by 40 points. And we made some adjustments. They have a very good guard there. It was averaging 20 points. And we made some adjustments in the morning. We didn't even have a walkthrough. And probably that's the thing that I was the most excited about and proud of. It was something we hadn't done all year. We just talked about it, and they executed it defensively extremely well. So that was a positive there as well.
Well, and you look, when you get into a Region 9 tournament, your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, potentially all right in a row. You're going to have a little bit more time to prep, but not much. So you get that opportunity to play 3 games in 3 days.
It is nice, and I'm always a fan of playing the South at least once. We don't get to do that, but at least we have a familiarity with them. And when you do get to the Region 9 tournament, you can study all the video you want, but seeing and playing actual, gives you a much better feel for them. So the fact that we got an opportunity to play them, because there is a very valid chance that we will see them in the Region 9 tournament.
Absolutely. So then, Coach, you guys go on the 2-week break. Are you nervous when you come back from a break like that the kids ate too much like you and I did, or have kind of lost a step?
I always dread the first few practices back, because you're always concerned. Again, like we talked at the beginning, it is a great break for the kids and a great break for the coaching staff. But with that comes a consequence, and you decondition in basketball very quickly, and it takes a while to get back into game shape or even practice shape. And to be honest, I don't know if we're even there quite yet. But we will be there.
Sure.
We will get there. So yeah, you were a little. There's always that concern. There's going to be a step back in conditioning and probably even execution. You just don't know how big it's going to be.
Well, the good news is you guys now have been on the road. You guys went on the road this weekend. You guys go up to Glendive, Montana. First game against Dawson, you guys win 67-46. Andy Schlissler comes out and leads the way with 20 points. Goes 3 of 3 from the 3-point line. Talk about her performance in that win.
Andy's just been so consistent for us all year. She's just a complete player. Offensively, I don't know, but I believe she's probably our leading scorer, very close. She's probably has our most volume as far as 3-point attempts and our highest percentage. So been a very key offensive person, but her basketball IQ, her communication, and probably the thing that I'm most impressed with Andy is her improvement on our on-ball defense. Sure. It's always a work in progress, but she's made some strides there. So huge contributor to our team.
Well, Coach, just based off the stats, looking at your last 5 games, it looks like your shooting is starting to really trend in the right direction. We talked about 53% against New Mexico from 3. Obviously, knock on wood, but it does seem like you guys are kind of trending in the right direction, scoring the basketball.
I would totally agree with you, and again, you don't want to jinx yourself with those things.
Sure.
And I attribute to the kids, and Coach Macy does a lot of individual workouts in the mornings with the individuals. We do a lot of shooting, especially the threes in our pre-practice shooting. And we have some girls that come up and get extra shots in there. So I think the fact that it is trending up has come as a result of some of the hard work that they put in outside of practice.
Sure. Well, in defending and rebounding, we talk a lot about that, but you can't win games without scoring the basketball, right?
Absolutely.
So then Saturday, you guys move on to United Tribes. You guys score the basketball a lot. 101 points. You guys win 101-77. 12 different players in the score figure. Andy Schlissler with a double-double. Talk a little bit about what that game was like.
It was fun offensively, a lot of fun. And I think our pressure, our full court pressure turned into some conversion baskets and those kind of things. So I think that's where we got our points. And to be honest, we needed those points. United Tribes had 2 players. One finished with 30 points, and I think she had 6 threes, and they were deep. And I think as a team they made 12 threes, and probably only 3 or 4 of those I was a little disappointed in our closeout or whatever. 9 of those we had a hand in their face, and they knocked them down. So we needed that offensive outburst. It came at the right time, and I think we took a step, and I think that's what I'm more encouraged about than anything is we were better on Saturday total overall than we were on Friday, and that's what I want to see each game now.
Absolutely. Well, and you hope that continues into next week, because you guys have a big one Friday here at the Swede. Western Nebraska coming in 6 o'clock, the number 24 team in the country, 15-1 overall. I can say all the positive things about them. They've won 12 in a row, 5 different players averaging 9 points a game. They do a lot of things really well, not to mention the fact that they're a Region 9 opponent. How important is this game coming up for you on Friday?
It's really important for a lot of reasons. Number one, I think, and this is for me the most important, is we got a great chance to see where we're at right now, okay, and what we got to work on going over the next 2 months, because that is a very good basketball team. If we're competing with that team, coming out successful with that team, I'm going to be happy with where we're at currently, because they're a good basketball team. They're ranked 24th, I believe, and they are for a reason. We played them at their place December 1st, I believe it was, and it was a great ball game, but they hit some threes down the stretch and ended up beating us by 6 points. So it is a key ball game. It's also one that, I think we're going to have to play extremely well defensively and offensively, because they force a lot of turnovers with their pressure, and that's just a great opportunity for us to get better.
Sure. That game that you guys lost, you guys go 3 of 15 from the three-point line. Again, we talk about hopefully that shooting trending up. You guys turned the ball over 18 times down there. But this is also one of those games that you talked about earlier, that win against New Mexico, a win against NJC. This would be one that would be a resume win that you could put on when you're looking at the end of the season.
Absolutely. It would be one. And, the stats that you mentioned previously, I give Western Nebraska some credit to that, because their ball pressure is really good. And we didn't get a lot of good, clean looks there, in our turnovers were because of their defense. They're a very good defensive team. But to your point, yes, this is another one that if you can win, and when it comes down to decisions being made by the selection committee, this would be a win that would carry some weight.
Absolutely. And so, fans, if you can't take from Coach's opinion on this, you got to know this is a big game Friday night, 6 o'clock here at the Swede. This is one that would be really nice to win. Let's make sure and try to pack the crowd.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because that part you said, that at the Swede, that is just music to my ears. We've been on the road for a long time. I think we played 10 straight road games, so it is going to be so great to get in front of our fans and be back home for a game finally.
Absolutely. And so now, outside of having a big crowd here on Friday night, without giving too much of the game plan away, what's one thing that you really feel like your team needs to do on Friday to be successful?
There's a list. One's going to be tough. I think probably the number one is handle their pressure. Sure. They're good in the backcourt. They're good in the half court. So handling their pressure, keeping our turnovers down, and winning that turnover battle would be very significant in the outcome.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, Friday night, 6 o'clock, you guys got a big one with Western Nebraska fans. Make sure that you come out and tune into that. Before we go, I do want to give a big shout out to our engineer, our producer, our do-it-all, Zach Nagy. The guy does everything for this program, puts it all together. I mean, Coach, you and I have talked off screen. Wow. He does it all for us.
Wow,
right?
What a great shout out, because ditto. Zach is awesome. He's working on some of our highlight videos for our sophomores, or at least he's going to be, if Coach Macy hasn't already made that comment or anything like that. But yeah, kudos, Zach. Great asset to our program.
A lot of great people here on campus, but man, Zach is as good as it gets,
yeah,
and we appreciate all of his work. So fans, remember Friday night, 6 o'clock here at the Swede. Be here. Casper College versus Western Nebraska. Coach, anything to wrap it up?
Nope. I'm anxious to get back home and anxious to see our fans here, and hopefully we give them a fun game to watch.
Absolutely. Fans will always remember shoot for the stars, because even if you miss, there's always a chance for an offensive rebound. Thanks for joining us.